Welcome to lesson 062 of Online School of Entrepreneurship. I am Dr. Kirian Mfam. In today's lecture, we will dwell on the effectuation pedagogy of entrepreneurship training. Upon completion of this lecture, our audience will be able to apply effectuation pedagogy in entrepreneurship training. The effectuation pedagogy of entrepreneurship training. The concept of effectuation represents a quite practical and hands-on approach to teaching through entrepreneurship. That is, it is an approach that ensures that students learn entrepreneurship by going through entrepreneurship. That is hands-on learning or learning by doing. Effectuation was developed by Saravasti and colleagues. It is described as an iterative process. That is a process where people work together and have influence on one another, of decision making, and active commitment, seeking results in creation of new value, where each iteration is started with questions such as, who am I, what do I know, and whom do I know. What we are saying here in essence is that through effectuation, people who are in this case learners come together with the sole aim of working together in order to influence one another in the course of working together as team members. They also take collective decisions and are involved in the active commitment of the team as they seek results on how to create new entrepreneurial value or new economic value, where each group of interaction begins with the team members asking themselves some pertinent questions in terms of who they are. That is to say, self-discovery. That in this process of effectuation, the participants are supposed to find out who they are, to discover themselves, to discover their potentials. Another question that is pertinent at this point is, what do I know? Here, team members begin to question themselves, to challenge themselves in terms of what they know concerning the focus of the group, which is to create economic or entrepreneurial value. And finally, whom do I know? Here, the question is geared towards interacting with one another to know the potentials that others have, but which they themselves do not have. Through effectuation pedagogy, value creation begins with a simple problem for which you see an implementable solution. That is, when you are using effectuation pedagogy in the training of students on how to create an economic value, the first step is to identify a problem, and that problem must have an implementable solution that has been foreseen. Therefore, through effectuation pedagogy, students come together to identify a common problem that can be implemented as the profile solution, or even something that you simply believe will be fun to attempt. Outside identifying a problem, that effectuation pedagogy is also saying that you can also identify something that you can solve that is creating problems to the society that can be easily solved through fun or through easy approach to learning. Effectuation constitutes a useful toolbox for teachers in any domain and on any educational level. What this means is that with the effectuation techniques of pedagogy, it's quite simple to be applied by any teacher at any level of instruction, be it primary, secondary, or tertiary education level. A student team can be asked to identify a simple problem in real life they would like to address. The emphasis here is that when you are adopting effectuation method of teaching, the group will be forced to identify a problem, a common problem that collectively that they will solve, and that problem must be a real life problem, that is a practical problem that is feasible, that is seen and known by people. Preferably, this problem is identified by taking into account the team's diverse interests, competencies, and previous experiences. Of course, in any group, the group members will have diverse interests. They have divergent competencies, and they will also share different experiences. So when they are solving this problem, they must bring to bear their respective interests, their respective competencies, as well as their various experiences. That's so that when announced, they can make proper implementation of the effectuation pedagogy. By interacting iteratively, that is to say, interacting as team members with the outside world, they can learn more about the problem, the people affected by it, and how they can help. Now, what we're saying here is that through effectuation, as team members begin to interact among themselves and with the society at large, they learn more about the problem that affects the people, and how the people are affected by the problem, and how they can help solve the problem. Application of effectuation pedagogy. Now, for you to implement effectuation pedagogy, the following steps should be taken for effective learning outcome. A. Group the students into small units of about 20 persons per group. This number is, however, dependent on the class size. If the class size is too large, you can increase the number to 30 or 40 or 50 students per group. However, if the class size is small, you can as well reduce the number to 10 persons per group. This is to ensure effective participation of team members in the effectuation process. B. Self-discovery. Challenge each group to identify a business need in campus. Now, under B, students are expected to discover themselves as group members. Therefore, they will be challenged by the instructor to identify a business need in campus. This is the business need that will eventually lead to a business idea, as we can see in the next step. Step 3, idea generation. Upon discovering a problem or identifying a problem that affects people in campus, students will go ahead to change that identified problem into a business idea. So at this level of idea generation, which is step C in the application of effectuation pedagogy, students brainstorm on the problem to raise a business seed. That business seed is the business idea that they're going to generate from the problem that they have identified. D. Idea development. Students in this level, students nurture, broaden, and develop the idea that has been identified and that has been developed. So under the idea development, students nurture and broaden the idea such that it can be implemented. The essence of developing the idea is because you cannot implement an idea when it is still in the form of a problem. You identify a problem, you analyze the problem, you raise a business seed, which is the idea, and you then develop the idea so that it can be implemented. E. Idea triggering. Students try or implement the idea in real life experience. So under E, which is the fifth level in applying effectuation pedagogy, students implement the idea that they were able to generate and develop in real life situation. So this is the level where the idea that was developed from the problem will be implemented to see the practical effect it will have on the society. And F, process evaluation. The process is evaluated for impact. In this level, the process, the effectuation pedagogy is evaluated to see if the learning outcome is such that will help students to actually create economic or entrepreneurial value to the society. And if the impact is okay, then they can also begin to apply this in other projects. However, if the impact is not successful, if the evaluation reveals that the impact was not based on the desired outcome, they can regenerate the process by again discovering themselves, generating idea, developing the idea, implementing the idea, and re-evaluating the idea to the extent that the desired learning outcome is achieved. Once this is done, then the essence for which effectuation pedagogy was implemented will set to be achieved. In the course of this lecture, and in line with our instructional objectives, we were able to apply effectuation pedagogy in entrepreneurship training. Please support us by 1. Following us on our Facebook page, Online School of Entrepreneurship. 2. Subscribing to our YouTube channel, Entrepreneurship Teacher. And 3. Liking, commenting, and sharing our posts. Thank you, and see you in our next lecture.